We're back. This time in English. Good morning, Los Angeles. We're here and we have a very, very special guest. It's Graeme Boyd, better known as AC Bongos on Twitter. Graeme, welcome. It's great to have you.
It's a pleasure to be back, and thank you for calling me a special guest. I think you might be a bit too optimistic there. But seriously, when I did this with you guys last year, it was one of my favourite memories from E3 last year. So thank you so much for having me back. I'm really excited to be here again.
Cool. I love it that you love it because it's. I mean, we're really doing this ghetto stream here from from this basic setup.
This is nice. Yeah. You've upgraded this year. I don't know if you've shown everyone at home the house that you're in just now, but this is really cool. I mean, this is pretty something.
Yeah, we've shown it. I mean, it's the 30 style LA Noir. We love it too, and the owners are really, really awesome people.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about Eleonora, and I almost feel compelled to like walk around and pick things up and just look at them like that, and then put them down again. And maybe take some notes in a book.
Trying to get to the point of everything in just 3 questions.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, that's funny.
We're going to talk about E3 a lot, about Xbox, the Xbox press conference, of course, ID at Xbox, and we're going to have you on the show for 1 hour until 10 o'clock because you're a very busy man and you have to run off to E3 again.
Yeah, we're doing another rehearsals and stuff, but yeah, an hour. We'll have a lot of fun in an hour. That's fine.
Listen, let's start with the Xbox press conference. I mean, it always used to be the kickoff of E3. This Monday morning, crazy traffic, everybody's late and rushing and trying to get in on time, and it always works. But now I see like all these people, all these companies moving to Sunday. Doesn't that feel awkward?
Everyone's stolen our thunder. Yeah. Everyone's going before us now. I don't know what's going on. I think E3 is just every single year it just gets bigger, and there's more things happening. You know, there's more shows, more live streams, more things for people at home to get involved with. And I think that's actually really positive about E3. When I started coming out here 10, 12 years ago, it was really just a trade show. You know, and the only news you heard was, you know, maybe on websites, but you know, you're talking a long time ago before social media really existed, or when people who worked on magazines wrote stuff up 2 or 3 weeks later. I love the fact now that it's so instant. Everyone's so connected across live streams and Facebook and Twitch and Twitter and everything like that. So it's
how does that work within Xbox? Because I see special events organized just for YouTubers, for instance. Live streaming. Of course, you're doing a live streaming show. I mean, there's tens of thousands of viewers. This has become, in my opinion, a media event. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, you know, the most important thing for us is to give people at home the chance to experience this. I mean, ultimately, this is all about people at home who buy Xbox and love games in general, right? So the more ways that we can actually bring it to people is really important for us. And I think, you know, you mentioned you know, we're really working with YouTubers now to make sure they've got chances to capture our titles, capture gameplay and stream. At our briefing, we've also moved to bring fans into the briefing. So we do FanFest now.
I saw that, and they all got a controller as well.
Yes, we just did that last night. Actually, let's talk about that soon, because last night was hilarious. We did some really cool things there. But yeah, so we invited fans from all over the world to come and join us on Saturday for the chance to be part of FanFest. We had almost 1,000 fans turn up. It was amazing, and it's so cool to just spend time with the fans. We were able to get a huge number of them into our briefing, so everyone that was sitting on the floor in the briefing were Xbox fans through FanFest. I was privileged enough to be able to sit in amongst them, which was great because you get real instant reactions to everything that's happening on stage, all of our announcements.
You know why you're doing it, because you see all these reactions, of course.
That's exactly it, because let's be honest, with journalists and press in the audience, you know, they're always tapping away on laptops and stuff, which is cool and it's important and everything, but there's something really special about having those real emotional, genuine reactions from fans, because I'm sure that's how people are feeling at home about these things as well. So that's super important to us, and you know, we then took the fans to another couple of events, and we had a really cool event with them last night as well. But you know, the bottom line is, this is at the end of the day about gamers. You know, so everything we can do and everything that any other gaming company can do to take it to gamers is really important.
I think maybe that's been your strategy, obviously, for the last maybe 2 years, that you've been really focused on also like fan feedback, or at least gamer feedback. There's been some instances, I think last year as well, that it came out in the press that you guys as Microsoft listened to fan feedback, and that steered you in a certain direction, like steered the company's decisions.
Yeah.
Can you tell anything about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we talked about it last year, right?
Yeah,
How
we mentioned it.
You know, I don't want to go over old ground, but I think we all know that when we announced Xbox One, you know, there was some things that didn't go so well, you know, and so since then we've been so focused on listening to our audience, listening to people who have bought our console, and also listening to people who haven't bought an Xbox One to hear what they think and what they want. And I think we've been on a great journey for a couple of years now of making changes. You know, if you think about the Xbox One when we launched it to what it looks like now, and the UI and the features and the functionality, it's so different. And then our briefing this year at E3, I think, again, was all about putting the gamer at the center of everything that we're doing. You know, I think we opened up with Xbox One S, which is, I think, another amazing option, another choice for people who either might not have gone from a 360 or any other console to an Xbox One. It's a beautiful new console with amazing new features. Or if you've already got an Xbox One and maybe you want to take that step to this, you know, console that has some improvements and some new things, then that's great. Then we had, you know, lots of amazing games. Again, we feel so confident about our games lineup in the middle, with some nice new Xbox Live features in there as well. And then ended, obviously, with Project Scorpio, which is, you know, our vision for how we move forward. We talked a lot about Xbox Play Anywhere, you know, the way we want to start removing boundaries and let people play across Xbox One and across Windows 10 PC and not be penalized there. You know, cross-play, being able to take your achievements and your progress across those two different devices, being able to buy once digitally and play it on Xbox One and across PC. All those things are so important to us because we know it's what gamers want.
But isn't it sometimes a danger that if you ask gamers what they want all the time for too long, isn't it the example of Henry Ford, that if you would have asked people what they wanted back when they used horses, they would have asked a better horse instead of that you invent the car and give it that to them?
So maybe gamers would say they want a faster console.
Yeah, they want 6 teraflops.
Exactly.
Is that really where the future of
What
gaming
is 6
heading?
teraflops? I mean, we've been talking about this for days. What does that mean?
It means
What's
it's
a
very
teraflop?
fast. Honestly, I'm not a technical guy, right? But I know teraflops is a good thing. I know more about flip-flops than teraflops, to be honest.
But I mean, only 6 teraflops. It doesn't sound like a lot of teraflops.
Well, I suppose it depends how you weigh it up, doesn't it? You know, I think the most important thing is that, you know, we're saying with Project Scorpio, we're building the most powerful console that's ever been created, but it still remains part of the Xbox One family. You know, our vision is not about console generations and, okay, that box you've bought is redundant now, you can't use that anymore. For us, it's about choice and about connecting the platforms, making sure games are compatible, accessories are compatible, that you can play on your laptop or your desktop PC or your tablet and your console as well.
For me personally, I mean, when the Slim was announced, I mean, we were nuts. We loved it. We were clapping,
I think it's
we were
one
cheering.
of the most sexy consoles ever made, really. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I need this in my life. I'm going to buy it. But then when Scorpio was announced at the end of the show, I was like, I don't know about Slim. I guess I need a Scorpio. So isn't the Scorpio kind of killing the current generation Xbox One?
Well, we don't think so, because we think, again, Scorpio is it's kind of the vision for the future. And I think the reason we wanted to talk about it now is that we want to make sure that developers and people who work on games are aware of it and have the opportunity to really get in now and make the most of that power that will be at their disposal. But again, it's about choice for us, right? You know, we know there is a ton of people who haven't upgraded to Xbox One yet, or maybe even haven't bought a PlayStation 4 yet. And what we're saying with Xbox One S is that here is an amazing opportunity for you. It's a console that's based on gamer feedback. You know, we've had Xbox One in market for 3 years now, so we've learned a lot about it. You know, we've put the power brick inside. We've got a 2 terabyte.
Finally, it took 10 years.
And I'm so happy about that, because when I look under my gaming desk at home and I see that big brick there, I'm like, and you have to like bring your TV unit off the wall just to get that brick behind it. So that's a good thing. 40% smaller. I mean, it's a really neat package. You can have it vertically as well as horizontally.
It's a beautiful console.
And then there's a couple of like small details that I really like. The power button. You know, the power button on the Xbox One S is that capacitive touch, right? So you just need to brush it and it turns off.
I have 3 sons. I mean, they're touching it all the time.
Exactly. If you've got dogs, cats, or children, then you know you have to kind of like put a fortress around your power button. Whereas on the Xbox One S, it's an actual tangible touch button, so you have to properly push it.
I love that.
Yeah.
More console makers, everyone should do that. I don't know where the hype with the touch buttons came from, but I'm really
It's a
happy.
good thing because when I'm cleaning the house, I always turn on the Xbox One and it's updating again, so it's always up to date.
Helps, doesn't it? You know, and I know that sounds like a small point, right? But you know, I'd like another one for the house, or maybe I want to trade one in and upgrade to the S. Then those are the little touches that I think really help. The new controller with the S as well is really beautiful. We've streamlined it. There's Bluetooth included there. It's got one of the things I always hear from people when we show off a new Xbox One wireless controller is the first question is always, does it have the grip on the back? Right? Because remember we did the Forza one.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna turn on the. You want to look at the? Look at the chat. So
when we did the Forza controller, it had this beautiful diamond grip on the back, which really makes a difference, and the Elite has it as well. The Xbox One S white controller has it's a very subtle grip, so you can't almost, if you look at photos, you can't almost see it, but it's a little like pimpled grip pattern on the back, so that's another really nice.
But the whole Xbox Elite controller thing is very interesting because it sort of moves console gaming towards customization. I mean, companies like Nike have been doing this for years very successfully, and you guys are starting to do that now with controllers. It makes a lot of sense, but it took a long time. I have the idea.
Yeah, I think honestly we've talked about it. I've seen the idea rattle around at Xbox for a long time, and you know, you mentioned Nike ID. That's always been the I guess what's the word? That's the example that we wanted to follow, right? Adidas do a similar sort of thing as well. I think what we've seen is that a couple of things, right? People who love Xbox controllers. You know, we think it's the best controller that's ever been made. You know, we upgraded the Xbox 360 to Xbox One controller and made a bunch of improvements. But it's like, so technically it's great, but we also see that people have a real emotional connection to it, right? It's like, that's my controller. Yeah. And it's like a symbol of their gaming, right? So Elite, when we announced it last year, you know, we took a lot of inspiration from the esports community, you know, and people who really want like the most customizable, the most personalizable, and technically the best controller experience. People went crazy for Elite last year, and you know, and once you get your hands on it, I don't know if people at home have got one or if you guys have tried one. It is ridiculous. Yeah, you can't go back, right? It's a bit like if you ever get upgraded to first class on a flight, it's really difficult to go back to economy, right? You're like, oh, whoa. So that's what Elite controller is like. So I think with Xbox Design Lab this year, we wanted to take that to the next level and say, okay, well, so we know people have this amazing emotional and personal connection to their controller. Xbox Design Lab is about taking all those great things from Nike ID and My Adidas and saying, right, so how do we let people create the controller that's perfect for them? So colors and options and gamer tag engraving, and really excited to announce that one.
I've got 2 small questions from the chat. When we were talking about Xbox, the new S version, people wanted to know if it's also going to be in black.
It's only white for the moment. That's all we've announced. Yeah, I mean, I think what we saw was that people responded really well to the white Xbox One. Yeah. You know, my one at home I was really lucky to get a staff console, so it's a nice white console that I got at launch day, and people reacted really well to that. So yeah, so it's white only at the moment, cool. But you know, never.
And there'll be a special edition, black and green, and you can customize your own colors probably in the future.
Wow, that's a nice idea. Maybe I'll send some emails on that. But white only for the moment, yeah.
So and any more information about, for instance, is it really silent, or people are asking stuff like that? Like, is there any other improvements to having it under your TV? So is it more silent?
Well, it'll allow 4K video.
Okay.
So that's a great improvement. If you've got 4K television, you want to watch 4K video, then that's great. It has HDR as well for gaming, so you will see some improvements there. I haven't actually heard it on, so I can't tell you whether it's quieter or not.
Sorry, I'm really laughing about the chat. They're calling it a racist move to only have it white.
Oh, come on. I'm not getting into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a combination of all those smaller improvements, which I think makes it a really amazing package.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah.
it's the size is such a big thing.
Yeah.
Having it that much smaller and that
Obviously,
much neater, it really means that you can, I've heard a few people say that they don't want a white piece of electronics, right? Because
love
it won't
it.
match with other things,
All
right?
my stuff is white.
Right, well, there you go. But the fact that it's 40% smaller also means that you can kind of put it wherever you want, and if you want it vertically, then you can sneak it away places and stuff. So I think it gives you a lot more flexibility.
What's your opinion on the lineup of video games this year at Xbox? I mean, I see a lot of third-party projects at the booth, but there's also some interesting stuff going on. Maybe coming out of Idea at Xbox, the indie label like Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I don't see so many Idea at Xbox indie games anymore. It seems like that's been toned down a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Am I wrong?
I would say you're wrong. I'm glad you said yes as well. Well, I mean, I think I feel really good about how we showed Idea Xbox in our briefing, and other people didn't show many indie games in their briefings this year, which I thought was quite a surprise. For us, it's so important. And again, it's just, I think on Xbox, it's part of this amazing ecosystem of games we've got, where we've got, our big first-party titles like Gears of War 4 and ReCore and Forza Horizon 3. We feel really good about that lineup. We've got amazing third-party titles coming in. We had Battlefield 1 in our conference and other big titles like that, Final Fantasy 15, Division. ID is it's like this amazing playground that sits somewhere in between, and you've got these incredibly creative titles that might be very small and do something very unusual. But then, we showed We Happy Few in the briefing.
Yeah, but that was almost presented like a AAA game.
Yeah,
I like that though.
but it is an indie game. It's being made by an independent development team. And I think that's an important thing, is right. Indie devs aren't always one guy in his bedroom doing it in his spare time, right?
Sometimes they are.
Well, yeah, and there's definitely a place for that. That's amazing. But we're working with quite a few indies now who are their independence, without a publisher, means that they can take more risks, they can do interesting things, and I think it pushes the whole gaming community and culture forward. And We Happy Few, I don't know if We Happy Few would be made by a big publisher, right? It's
Probably not. No.
yeah, it's a really different setup, this kind of dystopian environment. It's very English, but has this amazing kind of
English in a sense as it's almost cynical.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's this kind of picture perfect vision of the swinging 60s in England, right? But it's being made in Montreal, and this whole veneer of the drug taking and what happens when you stop taking that drugs and the
You've got a downer.
yeah, my favourite line from the briefing. Good Lord, he's a downer.
We've been quoting it all week.
It's so good. And that's one that I think people have responded really well to. So that's exciting to see. They're again amazing studio and nice guys. Cuphead. Every time we show a second of Cuphead, people go crazy. It's that's a great title, and rock hard as well. So that's really good. And Chris Charla was on the
Ghetto birds flying over. Yeah, we have that all the time.
But yeah, and we've got a lot of ID games on our booth as well. There's a whole section in the middle which is just stuffed with ID Xbox games. So it's a really big deal for us, and yeah, I'm glad that we had them in there.
I mean, maybe it's a communication issue where you see that indies aren't labeled as indies as much anymore as they used to. Just presented as big projects, special games. Sea of Thieves comes to mind, which was presented last year and Sea of Thieves is an indie game, right?
No, Sea of Thieves is from Rare.
It's from Rare.
Yeah, it's one of
Still waking up here.
Yeah, don't worry. It's one of our big first-party titles. But I guess I see your point. I mean, I think what we're getting towards is that it's less about putting things in boxes now, right? Yeah. So it's not just, okay, here's all your indie games are in here, and because sometimes I think that might turn some people off. Yeah. Some gamers might think
you need to put it in a box, an Xbox. Sorry.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I got a tweet actually,
Uh-huh.
a really good one I think from @Suselintje. She's asking if you think that we will ever be in a time that there's a service like maybe Xbox Live Gold, where you can get discount for your console, like the phone industry is doing already. Do you see that future? Maybe, I don't know how far ahead, or maybe it's your personal opinion that you would think it might be a good move to get more people into gaming and into console gaming?
So kind of like you pay a monthly subscription and your hardware gets upgraded.
For example, yeah.
I think it's a good idea, and I know we have trialed in some places around the world. We've trialed a sort of subscription service for an Xbox One.
Yeah.
You know, kind of the same way as you pay monthly for a handset.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, for a phone handset. So I certainly wouldn't rule it out. You know, I think for us it goes back to it's about offering choice and breaking down those boundaries between gaming platforms. You know, we've all grown up in a world where it's like you have a particular computer or console.
Yeah.
That's the one you play on. If your friends have got something else, you
Then,
can't play with
yeah.
them, right? And we all like to have a bit of a fanboy argument with our friends about which is best and stuff. But, you know, I think what we want to get to is a world where the gaming community is united and people can play with their friends wherever they want, whenever they want, and they're not losing out. You know, they're not losing their progress or their achievements. Or, and I think that's the exciting vision for us, I think.
There's another question that popped up that actually hooks right into that, and that's about, and for me that's a little bit of a fear as well actually, is that I'm a big Gears fan, and you guys are allowing people with mouse and keyboard into my Gears universe. Am I going to be slaughtered by them, or how are you coping with that difference of control systems?
Well, you're not going to be slaughtered by them because obviously you're an amazing Gears of War player, so you'll be fine. But, you know, I can't speak to the specifics. What I've seen from a game like Rocket League, for instance, that already allows cross-play on Xbox One is you can filter.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to do
Okay,
that,
yeah.
then you don't need to.
You
and
can
I
say
imagine that
no
will be
one in my matchup with mouse and keyboard, for example.
I would
Yeah.
imagine that will be the way
Yeah,
people
yeah.
will go, just to make sure that you're still in control of that experience.
Yeah.
But again, it's about, you know, there'll be 4-player co-op in Gears of War 4.
Yeah.
You know, and if 2 of your friends want to play it on PC, then that's great because
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of a sudden you can play 4-player co-op across
Definitely,
those
yeah.
devices. Same with Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah.
You know, we showed that on stage, 2 people playing on really sophisticated PC rigs with a full
Yeah,
sled
yeah.
setup. You know,
Yeah.
and we know that there's lots of people in the Forza community that play like that.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I could play on my laptop with a Bluetooth controller, and then my other friend could be playing just on their Xbox One S with a you know, a normal Elite controller or whatever. So again, it's just about making sure that people can play together with their friends in the way that they want to.
Yeah.
I have a question about E3 itself. I mean, we've been walking around at the LA Convention Center yesterday and talking to a lot of publishers and people in the industry, and everybody was sort of, in a strange way, depressed. And yeah, because there's a lot.
Not taking the joy.
They have not taken the joy. And the thing is, what's going on is that a few big publishers are not at E3 this year. And everybody's like thinking like, okay, if one of the big 3 console makers is leaving E3, it's over. Can you relate to that?
Well, I think E3 goes through cycles, you know, and you know, there was, God, what was it, 8 years ago or something? It did kind of go away, you know, and it went to a business event in Santa Monica.
And Microsoft was one of the publishers who really worked hard to get it back again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, you know, you'll have seen the investment that we've put in this week. You know, the briefing's super important to us. I mean, I know, like, the last 3 months of my life have been all leading up to that briefing and all our planning and everything. So, you know, it's a big deal to us, and it's really important for us to be able to show our games in this environment. But, you know, things will change and people will try new. So, you know, EA said that they wouldn't be at E3, but they still have a very big presence here, you know.
But it sucks.
Well, I was there on Sunday and I thought it was all right. But, you know, and I think they're testing something else out, and they might hear feedback like that. They might hear feedback that people liked it because it was more public, you know. Real gamers could get in there without having to have a press accreditation. So they'll learn from that, and we'll learn from that. And I think you know, things will always move around and change. But I think the sort of death of E3 is overstated. It feels pretty vibrant to me this year.
Yeah. But what I'm also seeing is that it almost seems like more attention is going to the press briefings or to the big press conferences instead of the actual show floor.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I'm just afraid, like, okay, if all this money and attention goes into the press conferences, it might just, I mean, in a few years from now, why would anyone even be at E3? Because it's a media event and a press conference is enough.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. You know, and I think what Nintendo are doing is interesting. You know, they came out early and said we're just focusing on Zelda. You know, and they do a great job of their online events, their online broadcasts, taking it to everyone. You know, things will change, and you know, the world will evolve. But I think it's been a really strong year for E3, and you know, we'll look forward to seeing what happens next year.
Cool.
Some people in the chat are really let down by the fact that they haven't seen anything of the cloud power and Crackdown 3.
Yeah, Crackdown 3. Let's talk about Crackdown 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I was disappointed it wasn't here because, you know, I love that game. I love the team that works on it. It's made in Scotland, as I was made in Scotland. So,
Nice.
So that's a big deal for us. I think, you know, the game itself is coming in 2017. We'll have more to share on it soon, so I'm excited to see that. You know, I still think that the lineup that we showed and talked about, we feel really confident about it. There's a ton of massive, big games in there, and I think it's a bit like last year when we talked about. You know, we didn't show Quantum Break at E3 last year. We waited until Gamescom, and I'm not saying we're waiting until Gamescom for Crackdown, but I think sometimes it's nice to show something when it's ready to be shown, and there's good stuff to show, and I still feel really confident about Crackdown as a game. I think it's going to be amazing. So yeah, I kind of share your disappointment a little bit, but I think there's more to come from Crackdown, and it's going to be really good.
All right, can't wait for that.
Another thing we're missing this year, especially me, because I loved it last year. I was really like, I talked about it for like 2 months after E3, was the HoloLens.
Oh yeah.
I'm really like, are there any plans, or I mean,
what
we
happened
heard
to
it's,
it?
It's been sent to developers.
It's, you know, dev kits are out to developers. We're making that available to people. So like, we're working with developers and clever people to see what's next with HoloLens. You know, it's definitely part of our vision for VR and AR.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about Project Scorpio being a system that will allow you to really get the most out of VR. That's super important to us. And again, about having an open ecosystem for VR, you know, opening it up to people in the way that they want to do it. So it's definitely still, there's a ton of work going on there.
Yeah.
You know, I think the Minecraft demo was amazing last year.
Yeah,
it was
but
really
also
cool
the
to see
Halo
that.
combat briefing just got
That's
me,
right.
you know, it really got me exciting for it. So yeah.
But yeah, so it would have been cool to see some more last year, but it's definitely still there. And again, you know, I think it's part of our vision for the future. It's, you know, it's all these new experiences and this new hardware that allows it to exist, but then also offering choice and keeping everything within that family.
Yeah.
So there's
Cool. And some people are wondering that if they have like a big gaming PC, can they go with other VR peripherals, or is there going to be like an Xbox VR thing that is not going to be HoloLens, but like there's been talks about Oculus collaboration?
Absolutely, yeah.
Will it then work with the Vive maybe on PC or stuff like that? Is there any clarity on that?
Well, we've talked for a long time now about, you know, our desire is to work with partners across VR.
Yeah.
You know, we've had nothing to announce on VR like from our side.
Mm-hmm.
But we've talked about Vive before. We've talked about Oculus Rift before.
Yeah.
You know, Rift ships with an Xbox One controller.
Yeah.
So again, it's about opening that ecosystem, not building boundaries and walls, but allowing people to experience VR and play games in the way they want to.
I do like the fact that VR is actually driving the next console cycle faster than we would have had otherwise.
Yeah, it's a good point actually, isn't it? You know, it's and I think that's really important, right? Because it is a step change for gaming, both in terms of tech and hardware, but then also the gaming experience as well. So I think, you know, again, Scorpio for us is important because it's about landing that experience in the right way, in the best way, because you don't want to have, you know, that sort of halfway experience where it doesn't quite work particularly well. So,
What sort of trajectory in communications do you see for Scorpio? I mean, when are we going to see more of it, or when do you expect this to come out and do something? And
Ja, just 1 second. People can, jullie kunnen allemaal nog steeds tweeten. Hè? Ik zie te weinig tweets met vragen voorbij komen, jongens. Hashtag GKE3. Stel je vragen. Ik heb er een aantal nu behandeld en voorbij zien komen. Blijf ze vuren. Alright, everyone can ask questions with hashtag GKE3. And then we'll answer your questions right here. I've seen some tweets, but definitely, keep tweeting because I think it's driving the conversation.
Yeah. Listen, about Project Scorpio, when are we going to see more? What sort of stuff is lined up for us?
soon.
But like next week? No. All right. No, I mean.
Do you want to get the calendar out and we'll mark some dates down?
Let's mark it.
We'll have more to share soon. I honestly don't know. No. Right? It's there's a lot of work going on. As I say, we wanted to get it out and talk about it publicly here at E3 because we wanted to get developers on board and we wanted to start, Xbox fans thinking about that vision down the line. But more to share soon. But we're excited about the reaction this week.
Yeah. What do you think of the other publishers? I mean, third-party titles for Xbox, or what's everybody do? What's your opinion about the lineup? I mean, a few years ago, people were sort of like thinking that the whole industry would change, and then all of a sudden consoles weren't dead and bigger than ever. And what's your opinion about that right now? What do you see happening?
I think honestly, and I know it's easy for me to say, right, but I genuinely think, and this sounds like a PR line, right, but it's not. This is an honest opinion. I genuinely think this is the best time ever to be a gamer. And I don't just mean an Xbox gamer, I mean a gamer in general. Yeah. We've talked a bit about tech and hardware, VR, and what that's going to do to the industry, augmented reality with things like HoloLens, the opportunities for that. But then just for good old-fashioned sitting on the couch or sitting in a desk chair, with a controller or a mouse and keyboard and playing games, we've never ever had it this good. I think the advancement in technology is so rapid now. The mix of big budget games and indie games and the creativity that comes around that. This ability to continually update hardware and games. This is an amazing time to be a gamer, and I think it's really easy for us all to be like a bit cynical about things and complain about things, but it's a lot better than when I was growing up, in the 80s.
You're absolutely right. Cool. But if you look at, what I'm a little bit afraid of, that, Xbox is doing really well here in the US. It's doing not so well on mainland in Europe, and it's doing well in the UK and the Nordics, I think. I'm just afraid that this is just going to pull all the sort of everything that's happening to Xbox more to the US and less to Europe. Am I wrong when I have that feeling?
Why do you think it's going to pull everything to the US?
Well, it happened with the introduction of Xbox One. Netherlands was one of the countries that was sort of like the launch was postponed for about, I think, 10 months or maybe even more. And that sort of got me thinking, like, obviously resources are always limited in a way. So it makes sense to move them to the territories where Xbox is doing best. And this is... basically every Xbox fan in the Netherlands felt hurt when their Xbox One didn't came out there. And actually I think Xbox is still recovering from that. And those sort of like spreadsheet decisions on how to invest your budget, which of course makes sense on that level, they're really hurting the gamer in the end, at least the European gamer. Do you think something like that has changed within Xbox? I mean, has like the Xbox, the managers and top levels, did they wake up to what happened after that?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, let me acknowledge your pain. I work in the European Xbox team, so I hear the feedback loud and clear. Trust me, that was a difficult time for all of us. But those decisions aren't made lightly or flippantly, and it's not always just a spreadsheet decision. Sometimes it's a logistical decision, or just being able to build things and quickly enough. And I know that's not easy to hear, but it certainly made me sad. So we acknowledge that first of all. The thing I would say is that that feedback is being heard loud and clear in Redmond, in Xbox HQ now, and we can't solve everything. But I think one of the things I loved to hear this week was that we've removed the language lock and the region lock on the console, right? And I know it's been a long time coming, but we got there, and that's it's because we heard the feedback, right? And we heard it for a while, and we finally
Very loud.
So that's good. So thanks for your patience on that one. But we've got there, right? And that is indicative, I think, of the fact that those voices are being heard. And it's part of my job to make sure that people are hearing it. So I hear your concern, but I think we're in a far better place than we have been in the past, and I think it's really important to us to keep pushing and make sure that we are, wherever our audience is, wherever fans are, and wherever gamers are, we're doing our best for them to get them what they need.
Can I get one more question in from the chat? Alosis is very enthusiastic, I think, about Scalebound, and is asking if there are more exclusives coming to the Xbox platform which are not shooters.
Good question. There's a bit of shooting in Scalebound.
That's true.
We're not talking about any other titles this week, so there's always things going on.
Sea of Thieves is a good example.
Sea of Thieves is a great example. Yeah, we should talk about that game.
Yeah, especially. Look, I'm also wearing the sleeve here.
Oh, look at you!
You're still wearing the sleeve.
No. I'm re-wearing the sleeve, but
you got all your swag on. Wow.
we played it yesterday and we had so much fun. Like this guy can't cooperate, which makes anything fun.
So he's the captain, right?
Yeah,
the captain of the ship.
That's the thing. He thought he was the captain, but he was just steering.
Like screaming, "I matey," and stuff like that.
Oh, we had so much fun.
Very good.
Yeah.
Did you see the Sea of Thieves pirate band?
Yeah,
we saw them
did.
play.
How good were they? They were absolutely amazing. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Sea of Thieves is, first of all, from Rare, amazing developer, and I think, the past couple of times I've gone up to Rare, it really feels like Rare have got their mojo back. Like they absolutely love that they're working on Sea of Thieves. They've basically transformed their whole studio to be like a pirate ship. Yeah.
Nice.
They're all turning up to work dressed as
they
pirates.
They don't have to work on avatars anymore. They're pretty happy.
So that's really good. So they're a brilliant studio, and I think they're doing something really different.
There she is, bringing coffee. Yes.
Hi, Shelley. So and it's great to see them like pushing things on again and doing something different. Scalebound does look exceptional though, and I think the difference from what we showed last year to this year was tangible, and it's great to have a title like that on the console. So again, I think we've got a really nicely rounded lineup. You've got Gears of War 4, you've got Driving in Horizon, you've got Scalebound, you've got ReCore, which I think is going to be a really compelling experience for people who are into the old Metroid games and Mega Man and even games like Mario and stuff. It's got that kind of like classic platformy feel about it. I feel really good about that lineup. But cool. Halo Wars 2 as well. We haven't even mentioned Halo Wars 2.
For me, that's interesting because Creative Assembly was closed a few years ago. I remember after Halo Wars 1 or maybe after Age of Empires 3, and now they're back with this. Or actually, their name was mentioned.
It was a different developer for Halo Wars. It was Ensemble Studios who worked on Age of Empires.
Of course, it was Ensemble.
So Creative Assembly, incredibly storied. Again, UK developer with an amazing history in art real-time strategy. So it was great to have them on board.
Not really woken up.
Don't worry, you're fine. It's and importantly as well, Creative Assembly, amazing history in PC game development, which is clearly a big deal for us now. So to have their expertise building Halo Wars 2 that will work amazingly on an Xbox One with a controller and on a PC with mouse and keyboard, and the ability to cross-play, etc., is really exciting for us to have them on board.
Cool. Are we going to talk about ID at Xbox? I want to know more about ID because you are, of course, really heavily invested into the indie scene.
Yes.
And what I find fascinating is that last year it was just indie. Everywhere you go, every like hardware platform had to claim the indies.
We had Beyond Eyes on stage with Sharita, which is great. Yeah.
And now it seems to be like it's VR, and again more VR, and the indies.
In general, not
necessarily Xbox, but in general. And I feel that the indies are, they don't get the deals they used to. It's harder for them to approach like publishers, hardware publishers. Has anything changed, or does it just seem like that?
I'm kind of finding it hard to answer the question there because I think we showed on Monday that indies still, if you actually our show was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
ID Xbox had 11 minutes of that 90, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that's a really solid. It's more than Xbox One S got. It's more than Project Scorpio got, right? It's a real big chunk of the briefing. You're not going to make me drink milk and orange juice again, are you? I remember that from last year.
We've upgraded to
Actually,
almond milk.
Oh, that's
They've been
sophisticated.
screaming
Organic,
for it, actually,
unsweetened
since
vanilla.
earlier. You gotta have him drink milk.
Oh my goodness! But at
I'm
least
so
it's no
sorry.
pulp this time, because I remember last year it was pulpy orange juice, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
it had a nice consistency
Yeah.
to it.
We still call it the smilk. Only now it's the
Smilk,
almond
that's
smilk.
right?
Yeah.
Almond milk. Wow, you've gone like very what's the word? Like artisan.
Yeah.
It's artisan milk, organically grown.
Oh yeah, that's it.
All right, guys, milk time.
What were we were talking about ID, weren't we?
Yeah.
So, and it's a massive, it's a big focus for us. You know, we know that our audience loves it, and we love the creativity we have from ID and indie developers. You know, even like personally, like over the past couple of months, I've been doing a lot of road trips around the UK to visit indie devs to talk about their games. So Bulkhead, the team that built Numa Breath of Life, and they're working on the Turing test, and they recently kickstarted Battalion 1944, which made a big splash, right? The World War II shooter.
Yeah.
You know, we went to see them. Behind the Burnout series, they just made Dangerous Golf. It's amazing to go to those studios that are, you know, Three Fields Entertainment is like this little cabin in the countryside in England with 11 people who have worked in the games industry all their life, and they've literally put everything on the line to go off on their own, form a small company and make games. So to go and visit them and see how passionate about it they are and how much it actually literally means to their lives. You know, they've remortgaged houses and sold things, and it's, you know, it's their life now. I think is really fascinating and exciting, and we're so proud and happy to support that on Xbox.
Yeah, that's super cool. There was a Dutch developer at the Xbox press conference. Do you know who I'm talking about? A Dutch game project.
Was it in the montage?
Using Keoken.
Oh, okay, there you go, yeah. So no, I don't.
No, they do a game called Deliver Us the Moon. They're also at Xbox booth.
Yeah.
Have you played that?
I haven't played that
You
one.
haven't
no.
delivered
Do you know
the
what?
moon?
I'll be honest, right? I have not played a single thing this week.
All right.
Because that's E3 for me. It's like you come here, you've got all these games right in front of you, but you're always so busy you never get a chance to pick anything up. But I will make sure I have a look at it, yeah. That's the one with the spaceman walking around, right?
Yes, that's it. You're in a suit. We still don't know what you have to do in the game, but it looks really nice.
Again, this is
It
the
was
brilliant
his,
thing about indie games is sometimes you have no idea what and then all of a sudden it snaps and you're like, I get it.
It was his favorite game of 2015. Favorite indie game.
I love it. These guys, and they just bought new underwear.
Okay.
He's always doing jokes about indies that they don't have clean underwear. He's trying to put
I
a
see.
stigma out there.
It sort of defines
It's
indies.
personal experience from this one here.
I thought you were with me.
No,
I've
but
actually brought you some new underwear.
Oh,
as a
really?
present, yeah. I did actually bring you some presents.
Oh, really?
wow.
It's not a lot, but I brought you some pins.
Oh,
Wow.
awesome.
I don't know. We might not be able to see these very well on the camera, but we were. I heard that you liked Sea of Thieves,
Whoa.
so unfortunately I couldn't bring you a Sea of Thieves pin.
That's even better
because
what I'm
I
seeing
need
there.
to. I need to wear.
See
it
a
today.
rare pin?
But
I'm
there's
seeing a
definitely a rare
jigsaw.
pin. Well, like let's talk about this one first, right? This is a
Yeah, that's
Gears of
really
War
cool.
Lancer pin. So this is brand new for this year at E3. So I've only got one of them. I'll let you fight over it, but it's very cool. Can you see that, Mr. Camera? It's wicked. So there's that, and then we've got a selection of rare pins for you as well. Now these ones are especially cool because they're
What's this?
Battletoads.
Oh, Battletoads, of course. Yeah.
There's only
Yeah, I played with
500
the
sets
Battletoad.
of these
Oh,
in the
wow.
whole world.
Whoa.
Okay, so 500 of each in the whole world. So
That's my
these are
favorite.
proper collector's items. So I brought you a wee selection of these, so you can,
Wow.
with your Sea of Thieves T-shirt and sleeves,
Man.
you can
Ah,
maybe put
this
a rare
one is-
pin on as well.
Is this from Sea of Thieves?
That is, I thought that was from Grabbed by the Ghoulies.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
apparently
yeah.
it's from Conquer.
Oh, it's from Conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's smoking a cigar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. And we've
Googly
got
eyes.
the Datadyne pin from Perfect Dark. And this one is from Banjo-Kazooie.
Great.
And there you go. So there you go, a nice selection of pins for you.
Awesome, thanks.
You gave me a snapback hat last year.
Hell yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
I still proudly have that on my desk at work.
Awesome.
So I thought I should bring you something back. I can't wear it because I look so weird in a snapback. I just cannot pull off a snapback.
Some people can handle it, some people can't.
I can't do it.
But what you can handle is a nice glass of milk.
Look at that.
And I think we should toast to this E3 2016 with some milk. And cheers, guys.
Look at the way.
Cheers.
And
We
Cheers.
don't have to drink it
Cheers
all,
to
though,
us.
but yeah.
You don't have to finish it. It's just the whole milk experience has to be had at this live.
alright.
It's all right, right? It's okay.
Fine again. Yeah, I think the almond really adds an interesting angle to it. It just the way it looks like egg.
It won't blend. It's just they don't. I mean, orange juice and almond milk don't like each other very much.
Okay, well that's good that we've mixed them together.
All right, can I do one more question from the tweets?
Yeah.
At Wikisub is asking if you see any possibilities of customizing your actual Xbox console in the future.
That's a great idea. And like I said earlier about Xbox Design Lab, you know, we know that our Xbox fans love that and love those opportunities. So yeah, I think that would be a really cool idea. But I'll tell you one thing: we've got a booth or an area on our booth at E3 which is all PC hardware. And we've worked with some of our amazing PC partners to get some incredible case mods and builds in there. So there's like an Overwatch Winston case mod. Did you
I
see
tweeted
that?
That's amazing.
It's so cool.
Oh,
And then the Aperture Science portal
also
turret,
really cool.
which
yeah.
actually has hydraulics that
Yeah.
opens out
Oh,
and
yeah,
all
yeah,
lights up
yeah,
inside.
yeah.
So there's some really exciting stuff going on in the PC space there, as we know, and that's cool. So I would never rule it out. I think that's a great idea. Really good idea.
There's a lot of companies who are customizing like gaming hardware right now and asking lots of money for it, and everybody's really into that. So I can imagine it only makes sense for a platform like Xbox to work with that.
Totally. I mean, we do a lot of work with companies to, you know, when we launch a game like, let me see, what did we do recently? Well, Overwatch is an example, right? We had customized Xbox Ones with a beautiful Overwatch design on them and Overwatch logo and stuff. You know, and we do them in very limited runs, so they're not for retail. But you know, every time we put photos of them on our social channels or in my, you know, if I tweet them out, everyone goes crazy for them. So we know there's you know, people love that stuff, and it's just like anything, isn't it? If you're into games, if you're into movies, if you're into music, then you love those kind of like collector's editions and stuff.
To be honest, I mean, I bought my Xbox One with Overdrive, the white one, because I wanted the white one. But it also feels special, you know, if you have something else than everybody. It's always better. Yeah.
Well, it goes back to that emotional connection, right? It's not just about a box that you put under your TV. It's like you invest a lot more into it. So I think that's a great idea.
I've got another question. Wim Koenen, at Wim Koenen, he's also called, is wondering if you guys are also watching the other press conferences and how you guys respond to the response of the internet from the Sony press conference, which they think was brilliant.
I think they had a really strong conference as well, actually. I love the focus on games. You know, I think we are all gamers at Xbox, so whenever other companies are talking about and announcing interesting games, then we think that's great. It's so positive for the whole industry, and it's positive for gamers. I think they did. I loved the fact that they had a live orchestra.
That was insane.
That was
pretty smart.
very cool idea. You know, and seeing new God of War is exciting. So I think they did a really strong job, and you know, we look at what they did and we weigh up what we've got against what they've got, and we, you know, I think we feel really confident about our lineup, both from a hardware point of view and accessories point of view, and importantly from a games point of view. But we always, you know, you always want to learn from what your competitors are doing. You know, that's crucial. You can't ignore that. Cool. You know, we talked a little bit about Nintendo earlier, about how they're being very single-minded and focused on Zelda, and good on them, because it's you know, that is a huge big deal for them. So
actually, there were, if you look at the comments on our live stream, and they were really slaughtered because of that single-minded focus. I mean, people expect something else at E3. They expect a lineup. They expect, if you announce a new console and at the next E3 you don't really show it. It's people have these expectations about E3.
Well, that's fair. I mean, I think people should remember that Nintendo do a lot all around the year to show off new things, and you know, to put together these Nintendo Directs that are, I think, really rich in content and really well.
Can you imagine Xbox only showing the new Halo at E3? I mean, that's insane, right?
No, I can't imagine it, but you know, I sort of understand what Nintendo are doing, and again, I think it's important that people try different things and learn things, and you know, we can learn from it, they'll learn from it, and I think that just helps move things along. So.
I agree.
But you know, a little bit of behind the scenes is, I know what happens is, you know, our leadership team, so people like Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg, they as a group, they will watch the other press conferences live. You know, they'll sit in a hotel suite or a conference room in a hotel while we're out here at E3 and watch them. And I've sat in a couple of them, and it's really fascinating to hear the response and the, you know, the discussion that goes on about what we're seeing. But what I'm very relieved about is that there's a general sense of excitement as gamers in the room to see what other people are doing. You know, there's not this kind of like, oh, I hope they fail and I hope they don't do very well. It's like, you know, when an exciting new game is announced or revealed, there's generally a kind of like, oh wow, that looks cool.
I remember 2 years ago, then actually there was this story, and it was confirmed afterwards that when Xbox announced the pricing of Xbox One during the conference, that Sony lowered the price of the PS4 with to $299 or something. I don't know what, something like that. And that was because Microsoft had the press conference on Monday morning, and they were on Monday evening. Do you think something similar like that happened this year?
So what would be the change this year, do you think?
That they pulled Project Neo because of the six teraflops.
Well, I mean, they went public last week in an article in the Financial Times in the UK, and I think it was Andrew House that was quoted as saying that they wouldn't be showing it at E3. So I think they made that choice beforehand. I don't know. I'm surmising. I've heard the rumours about a couple of years ago as well, and what I would say is if they did do that, good on them. I mean, that's very clever. I don't think it's an easy thing to do. So I think it's, you know, I've seen the amount of work and planning that goes into a press conference and everything that goes alongside it. It's very difficult to pivot quickly on information, and especially when you're talking about something like price, which is like a business. You know, the amount of calculations and spreadsheets and intelligent people that think about stuff.
But
like
they
that.
might have known about it before the show itself.
Possibly. I mean, let's be honest, lots of things get out into the open these days.
Everything.
Yeah, actually there's a tweet about that. What do you think of all the leaks ahead of E3? Does it kill the hype, or do you mind? Or is your boss angry if something leaks that you were supposed to tell?
Well, it wasn't me.
No,
I didn't do it.
obviously, but like, how does that work? Like, how do you guys respond to leaks?
Part of me thinks it's part of the fun of a big show like E3. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone is so excited for it, then that everyone's trying to find out information, and it's just, you know, all those rumors and speculations and leaks beforehand. It gets people more excited. So I think that's kind of good. The other side of me thinks it's a shame because, you know, I remember last year when we announced backward compatibility, that hadn't leaked. It was a big surprise, and you could sense that when the announcement was made, everything lit up, social went crazy, the room went crazy, and that was really special. And that's kind of what E3 used to be like 10, 12 years ago, before there was, like, you know, a lot of leaks and stuff was disseminating so quickly. So that's difficult, and like internally, you know, for us as a team, it can be quite difficult because you work so hard to have these things as surprises, and then when something happens. But do you know what? It's just part of the world we live in just now. I haven't seen the latest episode of Game of Thrones yet, but I've seen a couple of spoilers already, and it's like it's just part of the thing now. So.
Well, what do you think is the most painful leak last week?
That's a good question. Most painful. I think it's hard to say that any of them were particularly painful.
I know Dishonored, the Dishonored leak, Dishonored 2 leak, the low-res video from some Russian website was, they went ballistic at Bethesda when they saw that.
Yeah, I think part of when something, you know, it's not so bad when something leaks that it's just a piece of news. It's like, oh, Game X is
when it's an actual leak.
Yeah, but when it's proper content and it's not in the way that you or anyone else would want to have it shown, then I think that is more damaging. You know, like, I think pretty much everyone knew we were going to show Forza Horizon 3, And actually, we weren't particularly cagey about it. You know, it was when we started showing off the Lamborghini Centenario, it was pretty clear that we were going to. But at least what was nice about that was that when we showed the trailer on stage, I think it still had real impact because it was a beautiful trailer. We were showing it in an amazing environment and atmosphere, and I just about cried when I saw it. I thought it was great.
Do you think, and that's something that we were discussing earlier, that E3 is such an important podium, it's such an important event, that the fear of missing out on the hype it's so great that all these leaks are orchestrated, just trying to get attention for a press conference or a booth at the show floor. I mean, I even see really small indies doing this, trying to leak information to get attention. It's like you cannot fail at E3 because
tiny teaser trailers.
Yes, stuff like that.
20, 30 seconds.
I think it's actually. I'll answer the question by referring. Someone was telling me a few weeks ago that when the original Star Wars movie and Empire Strikes Back came out, there was a guy who worked on the Star Wars team whose job was to leak information, right? And obviously you're talking about the late 70s, early 80s, so he couldn't just go on Twitter or whatever. He actually had to go to comic book stores and talk to the person who owned the comic book store and say, oh, by the way, I've heard that, you know, such and such is going to happen. Or he would go to Comic Cons, you know, back in the day and do it. And that was actually part of their strategy, to build hype, was to seed information that would then proliferate through fanzines and through comic books, you know, just conversations in comic book stores. And I thought, that's an amazing story and actually quite an amazing strategy, right? If you could build that into your marketing strategy, that'd be really cool. Often it's not as sophisticated as that. Often just, you know, a mistake happens or whatever, or people find out information and it gets out. But so there's not too much like skullduggery going on that I know about, but I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah. No, but I mean, some of them are really, really well produced leaks. I mean, they're not even leaks. It's just part of the whole PR strategy. But when it's a genuine leak, it feels like news, and also I find it exciting.
And you're going to be excited by it. So you know, and sometimes it's nice to keep surprises, but you know, if it gets people excited, then.
I've got a question from Veenboy. He's excited about the Xbox platform in general. He wants to buy hardware.
Okay.
He's not sure what to do. Should he wait for the S? Should he go to the store right now? Should he wait for the Scorpio?
Or buy a PC.
Or buy a
Or
PC?
buy a PC,
What should he do?
Well, I think you've just by asking that question, you've shown that he has
A
a
lot
range
of
of options.
options.
Don't you think that's a threat as well? People don't know what to do or don't know exactly how to interpret all these platforms and all this information.
Yeah, I think we need to give people more information, and I think there's a ton of information right now on Xbox.com, particularly about Xbox One and Xbox One S. So I think people can make informed decisions there. I think people will know already if they are in the market for a console, or if they're in the market for a PC. And certainly what we see from our audience is that we've got a ton of dual players, people who really happily play on a console and play tons of games on a console. They'll also have a gaming PC, and they'll play games there as well. You know, so that is part of why we're keen to bring those two worlds together, because we know people are already doing that. But at the moment, there's this wall built between them. You know, I think for the guy you're talking about, does he have an Xbox One already? Do you know?
I don't think so. I didn't say. He was just saying, if I want to buy an Xbox right now, what kind of hardware do I need?
Well, if he doesn't have an Xbox One already, I would probably say that the Xbox One S is going to be a brilliant choice for him, right?
It's cheap.
Yeah, it's a good price as well, right?
And it looks really good.
But then, you know, to that point, then the kind of standard Xbox One, the one that's available right now, you know, is a great value price, and the hardware and the console has improved a lot, and you know, you'll be able to play all the same games on it. So
And you can defend your house using the power brick.
exactly, yeah, another great option. Yeah, we should put that on the box.
Definitely,
actually,
yeah.
as a bullet point.
Smack people.
I think Scorpio is, you know, that's out into the future. We talked about being holiday 2017 for a release date, and you know, there'll be more information on that.
People
soon.
are really hyped about Scorpio, though.
Good.
Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
really good to hear, you know. And I think it's about we want to add more options now, and we want to have an amazing gaming experiences for those options now. But we're really looking forward as well, because we want to, we want to bring people on that journey with us. It's, yeah.
Something that interests me personally and that amazed me a little bit as well was that the Xbox Live is not really like the console Xbox platform anymore. It's like a wider platform where you want to bring people who love games together, right?
Yeah.
So do you see that moving to even more hardware than announced right now? Like it's on iOS, Android, and
Yeah.
You're hoping that, or is that
Yeah, well,
an actual...
again, we showed on stage on Monday. I thought it was quite funny, actually. I've never seen a Microsoft press briefing or an Xbox press briefing
with an iPad
that had an iPad in it,
definitely.
and an Apple logo on screen and
Yeah,
an Android
yeah,
logo
yeah,
on screen.
yeah.
But again, it's about breaking down those boundaries, right? Xbox Live is, at its heart, an online service
Yeah.
for gamers, right? And we know that gamers aren't just on the box that we sell. They're on a number of different devices, a number of different platforms. So we want everyone to be able to engage with that.
What's fascinating is last year we talked about the importance of this video game industry is moving from the actual hardware towards the platforms. So Xbox Live, but also PS Plus, that's the real battle going on between Microsoft and Sony, for instance. And that's why Nintendo is having such a struggle keeping up, because their online services were really, subpar when you look at Xbox Live, for instance. So this move makes sense from that perspective, that you use PC to extend the platform Xbox Live.
Yeah.
But old school gamers like me are still confused that all of a sudden I can play my Xbox games on PC. Why would I want that?
Well, why wouldn't you want it? And the thing is, it's choice. If you don't want to, you don't need to. You can still stick with the console that you're playing on. But I think Minecraft is a really brilliant example of how it can work so well. Okay, I've got a 6-year-old son who's crazy about Minecraft. I love it as well. We play together in survival co-op. That's great. He plays it across Xbox 360, Xbox One, an iPhone, an iPad, and we've got an Android version at home as well. And with our announcement the other day with Minecraft Realms, is what we're saying is that we don't care what you play it on. We love the fact that you're playing it, and we want to break down those boundaries. So if you're playing on an Xbox One and you want to play it with your friend on an iPhone, go for it.
I was thinking about why I had a problem with that, and it is, to be honest, as a gamer, I always want the best experience. And I have an Xbox One at home, but if there's a €2,000 PC out there that can play the same games in a much better quality, obviously I need that in my life. So that's good. That's very expensive, and a lot of people a lot of gamers are saying things like, okay, but I don't want that. Don't want other people to have a better experience than me. I want them to have the same experience. It's very selfish, but I can imagine. I can relate to the emotion.
I keep using this word, but I think it comes back to choice. And it's allowing people, if they have the money and they want to, upgrade to that super duper gaming PC, then that's great. If not, then you're going to have an amazing experience on an Xbox One console and Project Scorpio when it comes down the line. It's about that choice. I think the most exciting part for me, again, is just breaking down those boundaries and letting people play together wherever they are. That's a big step change, I think.
Cool. Obviously, yeah. Thanks. There's one thing I have to say, and I'm not sure what time it is. It's
10.
already, it's 2 minutes past 10.
That time flies, doesn't it? It goes by so quick when we're talking.
Yeah, what's interesting is behind us, there's sort of these guys are like trying to empty the sewer, making lots of noise. And in the corner of my eye, I see this happening. That's a cool thing about streaming from the street, right?
Wow, that's good.
I must say though, Graeme, obviously people had a lot of questions in the chat as well. I feel some are a bit critical, some are a bit, worried about the Xbox platform, and I realize that you guys are changing so much these past 2 years. So I really want to thank you for all your explanations and answering our questions also.
No probs.
Through the gamers.
And listen, I think I understand. We've really focused on listening to feedback now, and I really hope that people do see that the changes that we've made to Xbox One over the past 3 years and where we're going in the future, it's all based on feedback, and I think that's been a really big change for us. And I always say that the critical feedback is worth so much more than people saying, oh, you guys are amazing and what you're doing is great and I love Game X and stuff. That means a lot to us, obviously. That fills our heart with joy, but the critical feedback or people saying, why don't you do more of this or why are you doing that is so important. So I would never, we never ignore that, and it's so valuable. So please keep it coming.
Cool. Thanks.
Graeme, thank you very much for coming. Yeah. It's awesome having you.
My pleasure.
Thanks a lot. I'm gonna order a purple controller when the controller order platform is available.
Nice.
Do you know when it's available in the Netherlands?
There is more to come on that. It's
right.
At launch now. It's UK, Canada, and Puerto Rico. So more to come on other markets.
Text my
so,
UK friends.
Sure.
Then.
Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I say UK?
Oh yeah.
US, Canada,
okay.
Puerto Rico. So your UK friends won't get it right now as well, but there'll be more to come soon.
Cool.
On that.
All right.
Thanks for coming and enjoy E3. I mean, there's 2 more days left, so have a great time.
Yeah, I'm on the way out now as well, so it's nice. I've got one more Xbox Daily Show today, which is I think at like 1 a.m. In the Netherlands, like tonight.
Yeah.
And then I party. I have my first drink of the week.
That's it.
And then I get on the plane tomorrow.
All right.
So yeah,
Cool, man. Have a great flight. Thanks for coming.
No worries, thanks.
All right, we're going to have Shelley here, and we're going to switch this live stream to Dutch. So everybody who's English, thanks for watching. And if you don't understand Dutch, then it's going to be a hard watch for the next hour. But thanks again, and we're going to switch around. Yep. Is Shelley there? All right. Yeah, we're going to let you out here.
Enjoy your pins.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Awesome. All right, I'm going to sit here. There's Shelley.
Is er suiker ook?
Wij gaan verder in het Nederlands, jongens. We zijn nog steeds live, Emiel.
We zijn nog steeds live.
We zijn nog steeds live.
Ik suiker en bestellen bij Shelley.
Ja, Shelley komt zo meteen met suiker. Ja. Dan, oké. Ja. Doei, tot ziens. Thanks, see you later. Bye bye. Kijk, zo zijn we gewoon. Het is, oh ja, dat is de bel. Bye bye. Dat is onze we streamen gewoon van straat, weet je. Iedereen loopt erin, loopt eruit. Dat is gewoon gezellig.
Zeker.
Even kijken. Ja, we hebben een uur lang gesproken met Graeme Boyd, AC Bongo's. Dat
is leuk gesprek.
Ja, en we zijn nu volledig op de hoogte van alles Xbox en ook achter de schermen.
Kijk, ik vraag om suiker. Shelly delivers.
Het is gewoon een heel pak.
Pure sugar. En hoeveel? Ja. Dat zeg maar een Amerikaan drinkt zo'n pak in 1 kopje koffie.
Dit moet genoeg zijn voor jou.
Denk
toch,
het wel.
Emiel?
Thanks Shelly, wat een baas. Zin.
Hey, terwijl jullie hier aan de crack gaan, heb ik even nog een
vlammetje?
Nog een dingetje. Ja, zeker. Ja, je moet het gewoon houdt in je hand, dan smelt het ook.
Dan smelkt het ook.
Dan smelkt het. We hebben natuurlijk The Wall.
The Wall
staat online.
De Wall is van de fan. Wat goed dat je dat
The Wall. Je kunt stemmen op The Wall. Check even de juiste post op GameKings.tv. En dan kun je stemmen op jouw game van de show. En dat is interessant. We hebben al een tussenstand doorgekregen. En heb jij al gestemd?
Ik heb nog niet gestemd en ik heb ook de tussenstand nog niet gezien.
Nee? Ik weet maar 1 game. Jij heeft gezegd ongeveer wat hij heel goed doet. En dat is namelijk, weet je welke game het echt heel goed doet? Wat denk jij? Welke game denk je dat er nu soort van heel hoog bovenaan in de wall staat?
God of War?
Nee.
Battlefield?
Nee.
Call of Duty?
Nee.
Zelda?
Nee.
The Days Gone?
Nee. Raar hè? Die had ik wel verwacht. Ik ga het je verklappen. Het is South Park.
Oh, natuurlijk. Ja,
Ja.
Heel, dat is toch, dat mag ook wel.
Ja, dat mag zeker wel. Ja, maar het is bizar, toch? Ik vind het
Ja.
zo gaaf. Ik vind op een of andere manier is die game altijd een beetje een soort van game ding. Al is het een tv-serie game ding. Maar Jesus Christ, die game is super vet. En hij heeft ook een hele grote indruk gemaakt op jullie. Dat breng je stem.
Uitslag.
Ja, inderdaad.
Ja.
Er komen nog heel veel items over, inderdaad. Absoluut.
Hilarisch vond net in ons gesprek, ik wil het toch even noemen, dat wij waren echt heel erg blij dat we nu gamers waren en we worden zo verwend. En persoonlijk denk ik echt, we worden echt verwend, weet je. Er komen per dag volgens mij meer dan 5.000 tot 10.000 games uit. Ja. En iedereen in de chat, nou ik was een gelukkigere gamer in de 80s of in de 90s. What the fuck?
Ja, vroeger was alles beter, man. Maar ik herken die.
What the fuck?
Ja,
Dat kan je gewoon, dat is ook gewoon niet waar. Dat is
Dit
gewoon
is een
echt
van de
bullshit.
6e E3's. Ik bedoel,
Ja.
hebben jullie de God of War trailer gezien? Hebben jullie, nou jullie hebben nog niet Sea of Thieves gespeeld, maar ik heb
Ja.
gisteren echt in mijn broek gepist van het lachen.
Ja. Nee, maar serieus, hè, ik vond dat gisteren
Ik
was
heb
er...
liever wel gewoon een of andere oude pixel game.
Ja,
Ja.
gewoon een pixel game. Maar weet je wat het is? Nu, je kijkt ook niet naar Sea of Thieves of dat het een of andere oude pixel game is. Maar als je over 10 jaar terugkijkt naar Sea of Thieves, dan vind je dat wel.
Tuurlijk.
Dus het is, ja,
je hebt
het
gewoon een
was
goede herinnering bij een
Ja.
bepaalde game. En daardoor
Nou,
is dat voor
ja.
jou altijd het beste ooit.
Ik was gelukkig in 1986, dus de Commodore 64 is het beste
Ja.
platform ooit.
Maar dat is gewoon een biologisch ding. Ik bedoel, ik kan me ook vakanties herinneren en dan denk ik nu aan terug en denk dat was toch echt fucking geweldig, weet je wel.
En dan ga je er weer.
Dan ga je er weer en denk je, wat een fucking kutplek is dit, zeg, weet je. En dan vergeet je al die dingen zoals dat er een heel klein houten bedje was waar je de hele week echt kut op had geslapen. En dat soort dingen vergeet je gewoon. En dat vind ik weer een positief ding aan de mens. Maar laten we eerlijk zijn, wat een fantastische tijd voor games, jongens.
Yeah.
Wat hartjes in de chat voor nu en games en E3. Liefde. Liefdeshype. Yeah.
Games liefdeshype.
Yay. Oké.
Hey, ik wil eventjes over Sea of Thieves hebben. Eerst wil ik het eigenlijk even hebben over die Microsoft toestand gisteravond. Wij zijn, toen de beurs dicht was, werden we uitgenodigd op de Microsoft stand samen met nog een paar honderd andere gelukkige gamers om rond te lopen daar en alles te spelen. En we hadden eerst iets van, weet je, moeten we, is de beurs dicht, moeten we nog een keer terug op de beurs.
In
Maar
een
ze-
rij gaan staan.
In en uit.
Ja.
En toen hadden ze me zeiden van ja, we hebben bier en drank en weet ik veel wat. Het is allemaal gezellig, toestand. Dat was ook zo, dat was super. Maar wat er echt leuk was, is dat ik bijna alle games die ik interessant vond van Microsoft gisteravond gespeeld heb.
Ja.
En jij ook, want ik zag je, eerst hoorde ik je klagen over, help me eventjes. Recore natuurlijk, dat je zulke verwachtingen had dat je niet leuk vond. Vervolgens zag ik je ik heb er foto's van gemaakt, dat je echt een soort van helemaal voorovergeleund naar die game aan
die
het spelen.
game is intens, man. Jezus.
Maar
jongen,
je
dat is
vond
een
het
soort
tof.
ja, ik vond het tof. Ik heb 1 level kunnen spelen.
Ja.
Ja, maar in die trailer zag die game er echt een stuk minder mooi uit.
Ja,
En de gameplay werd niet echt duidelijk. Maar het is echt een soort van Metroid-achtige platformer slash niet-platformer slash actie, robot. Ik weet niet hoe je het noemt. Ik kan niet de juiste benaming vinden voor deze
een
gameplay.
actierobot game.
Ja, nee, wat het eigenlijk is, je bent die chick, Jules heet ze volgens mij.
Ja.
En je hebt verschillende enemies en die zijn bepaalde kleuren. En je hebt een gun en die heeft bepaalde kleuren bullets. Dus rood, geel, blauw.
Ja.
En elke enemy die heeft zijn zwakte. En dat ligt gelijk aan die kleur van de enemy en de gun.
Ja.
Dus je bent constant aan het switchen tussen die verschillende wapens. En ook tussen die verschillende beesten die je helpen. En dat gaat echt super snel. Dus het is niet van, nu ga ik even langzaam naar rood. Maar je bent echt constant geel, rood, blauw. En ik weet niet, het was heel erg moeilijk. En ik mis een beetje moeilijke games.
Ja.
Maar niet gelijk Dark Souls moeilijk, want daar hou ik dan weer niet van. Maar ja, ik weet niet. Het was vet.
Dema, ja, ik heb eventjes mee staan kijken met je, maar ik moet je eerlijk zeggen, ik kon het niet plaatsen. Het deed me een beetje aan een game, de actie deed me denken aan een game als Vanquish bijvoorbeeld, die toen voor Sega uitkwam. Is dit mijn koffie trouwens?
Ja, die
Nice.
staat hier echt al heel lang.
Ja, inderdaad, ik kon er niet bij. Thanks. Hij is nog warm. Lekker, Jesus, koffie. Ik was gewoon niet helemaal wakker nog. Wat ik heb gespeeld gisteren, en daar wil ik even over praten, is Dead Rising 4. En nu ik me hier eindelijk wakker aan het worden ben na deze slok koffie, realiseer ik me dat ik Graeme had moeten vragen of die ook op andere platformen uitkomt, behalve alleen de Xbox. Ben ik gewoon kaart vergeten, excuses daarvoor.
Hij komt op andere platformen.
Ja, dat wist ik eigenlijk ook al. Maar ik denk dat ik nu al, en ik zei het gisteravond tegen jullie al, ik denk dat ik kan zeggen dat mijn teleurstelling van de show is.
Ja?
Ja, ik vond het echt niet vernieuwend. Ik was zo blij dat Frank West terug was. En vervolgens zie ik qua gameplay eigenlijk niets anders dan gewoon horde zombies kapot maken.
Grafisch. Ik had echt het idee dat ik gewoon naar Dead Rising 3 aan het
Mensen
kijken
willen
was.
weten wat ik van... ik zei, hey Psykers, mensen willen weten wat ik van For Honor vind. Jullie moeten niet zo zeiken, jongens.
Ja.
Dead Rising 4, het is fucking vet. Het komt 4-player co-op. Hoe cool is dat? Maar
Dat is tof.
wil je nog even over Dead Rising zeuren, ouwe man? Of
Nee hoor,
ik,
ga jij maar over je
chat
For
gaat
Honor.
helemaal los, iedereen wil het weten. Ik heb dus een uitgebreide playthrough gedaan. Ik heb ongeveer een half uur gezeten om For Honor te spelen.
Jason Vanderburg.
Helaas kwam hij pas aan toen ik wegging. Jason Vanderburg, ik gebruik ook al jarenlang zijn presentaties in mijn lessen. Want de man is echt heel erg scherp en hij weet heel veel over game design.
Je weet dat hij een keertje bij GameKings live was, hè?
Ja, En dat jij heel zuur ging lopen zijn. Of wat? Nee, grapje.
Dat was voor Red Steel had hij nog gemaakt.
Oh, cool, ja. Maar anyway, hij kwam dus net te laat, dus ik kon hem geen persoonlijke vraag stellen. Maar ik heb dus wel echt een half uur spelervaring met die game gehad. En ik kan je dus vertellen hoe die game voor mij is. Ja. Ik heb 2 singleplayer levels gespeeld, waarin mij werd uitgelegd hoe de game precies werkt. En ja, het principe is, zoals we allemaal weten, je houdt de L1-knop ingedrukt en dan vervolgens een richting met je rechter joystick. Ja. En dat betekent dat je je zwaard in die positie houdt. Als de ander dat ook doet en de ander slaat je dan counter je op die manier. En als jij een andere richting klikt dan daarna. En dat systeem dat werkt, jongens, kan ik je vertellen. Ik was echt, in het begin voelde ik me heel erg dom. En daar moet je dus wel op voorbereiden. Je gaat niet gelijk goed zijn op de game, want je bent gewoon gewend dat je op een knop kan drukken en that's it. Maar juist dat leren vond ik zelf heel erg leuk. En het was dus uitdagend. Het voelde heavy. Het enige wat ik dan weer had, maar dat zou ook aan de koptelefoon kunnen liggen. En dat zijn kleine dingetjes waar ik altijd wel kritisch op ben. Is dat de sound effects niet heel erg heavy aanvoelden. Dus ik sloeg met mijn zwaard en ik wil echt gewoon klang, weet je wel. Wat je ook bijvoorbeeld met Bloodborne of Dark Souls hebt. Dat je echt het idee hebt dat je gewoon 150 kilo aan staal aan het bewegen bent. Dat had ik iets minder.
Weet je wat ik heel erg bij die game had?
Ja.
Als je iemand... je
vond iets kut eraan.
Kut, nee, zeker niet. Ik vind het heel vet. Maar er was één ding wat ik vreemd vond. En ik vond het ook opvallend dat ik dat vond. Je moet vrij veel moeite doen om zo'n gevecht te winnen. Het is vrij intens. Hè? Ik bedoel, bij een shooter, je schiet je magazijn leeg of 3 kogels en dan ben je dood. Ja. Maar hier, je bent echt aan het hakken en aan het blokken en steken. En, dan vind ik het raar dat er geen permadeath is. Ja, je bent iemand echt aan het doodmaken. Ja. En dan is hij dood. En dan boem, staat hij er weer. Dus dan,
tegelijkertijd zijn het wel echt maar 4 klappen voordat je dood bent. Dus,
ja? Wel?
Ja. Okay. Dus je moet wel, want ik zat op een gegeven moment... je bent natuurlijk aan het leren. Je kan ook bijvoorbeeld iemand een soort klap geven, waardoor die even stunned is. Okay. En dat gebeurde bij mij. En toen was ik even zo de soort van uit mijn hum, zeg maar, gameplay-wise, dat het echt even duurde voordat ik weer was gerecoverd. En tegen die tijd was ik al dood. Dus je moet echt goed blijven opletten, goed blijven counteren. En ik ben vooral benieuwd hoe dat in de multiplayer werkt. Holy shit, dat wordt me toch vet.
Maar dat vind ik interessant, want dat hebben wij zelfs vorig jaar op de E3 al gespeeld.
Jij.
Ja, en volgens mij Jelle ook. Dat weet ik niet meer. Ik
stond toen naast je en ik heb echt 2 minuten toen de controle vast gehad.
Oh, dat was het. Dan waren wij toch samen dat we daar binnen waren. Nou, leuk. Hey, en wat gaan wij vandaag allemaal doen op de E3, Shelly?
We Steep gaan spelen.
Hebben we al gespeeld?
Ja, jullie. Ik niet. Ik ga Steep spelen hoor. Watch Dogs 2 natuurlijk. Ghost Recon. Wat hebben ze nog meer? Just Dance. Nee, gewoon...
South Park.
Ja, South Park. Alle UB-games die er te spelen zijn, die gaan we spelen. Ondertussen gaat David, als we het halen, naar Horizon Zero Dawn. Ja. Om die game te checken. Volgens mij is die ook speelbaar. En Emiel en ik gaan naar The Legend of Zelda.
Ja, dit is de dag der dagen.
Dit is hem gewoon. Dit is de dag.
Shelly,
ik heb er echt heel veel
hebben jullie zin in?
Ja, echt. Ik heb ook nog wat beelden online gezien.
Ik
en de game
heb net ook
is
even
zo
zitten kijken
mooi.
tijdens jullie interview.
Ja, het is niet normaal.
Ja.
De game is echt heel mooi. Gewoon, ik heb verschillende areas gezien. Ook wat meer ijzige areas.
IJzige areas.
En grotten. En het is fucking fantastisch. Ja? Het was echt fucking fantastisch.
Okay.
Shelly, heb je nog meer?
Ik zal niet gaan haten op jullie. Ik vind het super tof dat jullie dat zo super tof vinden.
Even, wat hebben we nog meer? Ja, je vraagt me wel wat hoor.
Ik vind het wel een beetje jammer dat je Farming Simulator trui die je gisteren kreeg, wat echt soort van het hoogtepunt was van de dag, niet eventjes hebt laten zien.
Ja, maar die heb ik gisteren al de hele dag aangehad in dat item.
Ja, die staat in het item.
Ja, dus het werd een beetje too much Farming Simulator anders. Maar ik werd een beetje, wat is het met dat weer hier? Dus dat elke dag dat het 26 graden wordt. Ja. Vervolgens is het een soort van -5.
Ja, ik heb elke dag deze trui aan, want het is de enige trui die ik mee heb genomen. En het is echt koud gewoon. Maar aan de andere kant, het is 's ochtends koud en het wordt gewoon 's middags vaak bloedheet.
Ja, klopt. Wat we vandaag ook hebben, is de 30 jaar Ubisoft Party. En ja, nu mag ik hopen dat Ubisoft daar wel wat van maakt.
Ja, dat lijkt me wel.
Staat.
Ja, zeker. Wat ga jij doen op je 30-jarige Shelly bestaansparty?
Een party geven op de E3.
Ja,
voor alleen maar gamesjournalisten, mijn beste vrienden. Ja.
Ja. Vet. Goed, we hebben inmiddels 1414 hele gelukkige kijkertjes die Rip aan het zeggen zijn. Waarom zijn ze dat te zeggen?
Oké, daar moet je dus niet op letten, want vaak zeggen mensen dat en dan valt het allemaal wel mee.
Ja, nee, maar gewoon omdat het loopt altijd een beetje achter. Dus ik probeer mijn hersens te laten kraken en te verzinnen wat
Ik
ik
moest
in
net
godsnaam...
trouwens, jongens, de stream was af en toe, of de chat was een klein beetje toxic. Ik probeer die positieve vibes erin te
Bij
gooien.
Graeme bedoel je?
Ja, überhaupt. En ik vind het heel erg leuk dat heel veel mensen ook met goede vragen kwamen. Maar ik heb toch ook wel gelachen, zeg, om sommige van jullie. Echt, nou ja, Boris die hoorde het zo af en toe, die snapte dan misschien ook niet. Maar ik zat zo even
Ik zag je
gewoon...
dat grinniken en zo.
Ja, ik
En dan kwam
me
er niet te
inhouden.
vragen, dan
was
wist ik wel ongeveer wat er
Ja,
gezegd
precies.
werd. Ja.
Maar goed, hou dat vol, weet je. Ik hou van goede grappen.
Wat werd er gezegd? Geef eens
Het
wat
mag wel
voorbeeld.
een beetje cynisch. Nou ja, bijvoorbeeld, ik heb één voorbeeld genoemd van toen het over de Xbox ging, dat die alleen in het wit verkrijgbaar zou zijn. Dat iedereen zei van, het is een beetje racistisch. Nou ja, goed, dat soort dingen. Ik vind het heel grappig. Inderdaad, slik die shit grappen kwamen er voorbij met de smilk tegen Graeme, van Graeme slik die shit. Nou ja, dat soort dingen. Ik vind het ontzettend leuk. Dus keep it up.
Ja. Even rust.
Ja, even rust. Denk je dat? Nou, helemaal niet. Want ik wil nog één anekdote vertellen. Ik heb gisteren Jelle's ass gekikt in Killer Instinct. Niet normaal. Ja. Echt, jongen. Combo breaker naar combo breaker. Hammer breakers. Ik heb met de Battletoad character gespeeld en ik heb met Raam gespeeld. Ik moet je zeggen, dat is echt een game die volledig langs me heen is gegaan. Hebben jullie dat ook wel eens gehad? Dat je een game hebt waarvan je al 20 jaar wil dat er een nieuwe versie van komt. En dan is hij er en dan blijkt je hem gewoon al 2 jaar niet te spelen. Ja. Dat had ik met Killer Instinct.
Ja. Ik hoor je helemaal. Killer Instinct is super vet.
Ik wil een nieuwe character skin voor Raam. General Rami.
Rami.
Die trouwens, mag ik dat spoilen?
Ja hoor.
Rami komt langs, jongen, morgen.
Samen met Koen Deetman. De grote man achter Deliver Us the Moon.
Niet samen met. Koen wisselt hem af. Ja, dus eerst komt Rami en dan gaan we lekker met Rami lullen. En ik ben ook heel benieuwd.
Ik dacht dat Koen eerst kwam.
Oké, eerst komt Koen. En dan gaan we lekker met Koen lullen over ruimte pakken en space shuttles en de maan. En vooral hoe je die maan gaat deliveren aan ons. Of aan jullie
dus heeft hij hem wel meegenomen.
Precies.
Ja, en delivert hij ons de moon.
Wie weet. En daarna gaan we Rami even flink aan de tand voelen waarom we nog niet een nieuwe aankondiging hebben gehoord van een Vlambeer game. Want ik kijk er heel erg naar uit. Ik ben heel erg benieuwd wat ze gaan doen.
En alle insights vanuit de indie-hoek in deze...
Precies. Rami spreekt iedereen altijd overal op elk moment als hij niet op Twitter zit. Dus daar zijn we ook heel erg benieuwd naar.
Eventjes terugkeren naar... Ik wil eigenlijk 2 dingen nog bespreken. Ik wil het straks hebben eventjes over Shelly en ik die Battlefield 1 hebben gespeeld en daar vervolgens een discussie over hadden. Maar ik wil het eerst even hebben over Sea of Thieves. Een game die we eigenlijk met z'n allen gespeeld hebben. Tenminste, wij met z'n vieren, Jelle er ook bij. We waren met z'n vieren op 1 schip. Ja. En we hadden ook natuurlijk nog ons hielp om die game te spelen, want het was niet helemaal duidelijk. En wat er vervolgens gebeurde, ik vond het bizar. Weet je? Ik bedoel, het was net of we met z'n allen een soort van in een kamer stonden en ineens staat uit het raam te kijken. Weet je, wat je doet in die game lijkt totaal niets te maken te hebben met wat iemand anders doet in die game. Behalve dat je met elkaar op een schip zit. Ja. En wat doe je op een schip? De ene hijst de zeilen, de andere hijst het anker. Weer iemand anders stuurt.
Je kan zelfs muziek spelen en rum drinken.
Daarom, met kanonnen schieten. Ja. Het was echt, al die dingen lijken gewoon van, je kunt dat vrij random doen.
Je moet eigenlijk ook een beetje voor elkaar zorgen indirect. Want je moet samen dat schip hoog houden. Net als dat ik heel even tussendoor, met name vanuit de chat ook. Shelly, heb je het heel erg koud? Of ben je gewoon trillende Shelly zoals je altijd bent?
Ik heb het koud.
Ja. Even je jas halen.
Ga even snel een truitje halen of zo.
De auto staat voor de deur. Oh, die staat hier niet.
Ja.
Is er nog iets anders? Misschien iemand? Nee? Want mensen balen echt dat je aan het trillen bent. En ik dacht dat is gewoon Shelly. Shelly trilt namelijk altijd. Shelly is een soort rumblepack. Maar dit keer heeft het echt koud.
Ja.
Oké.
Rumble Shelly. Hey, maar ik wil het over... ik wil het over hoe heet het hebben. Over
sorry,
ja, nog één poging wagen om te praten over
de chat kwam met zorgen.
Misschien moet je Shelly gewoon weer eventjes
de
chat
Shelly
laten
moet de chat nemen doen. Dan kan ze zelf uitleggen
dat
dat ze het wel koud heeft, maar dat wij er niet gaan helpen.
Ja, dit gewoon doen.
Sorry. Oké, Sea of Thieves. Je wil een goed gesprek over Sea of Thieves.
Ja, en ik wil vanuit jou, vanuit je developer perspectief, wil ik horen waarom Sea of Thieves zo ontzettend goed werkte. Want wat ik opvallend vond, is dat die game niet tegen je zegt, hij is nu het anker. Ga nu naar de kanonnen, ga nu naar links en schiet. Kijk, Jelle pakt eventjes croissant.
Bijdend.
Ja, ongelooflijk.
Nou, ik weet je, Sea of Thieves was gewoon voor ons een briljante ervaring. Maar er kwamen ook een aantal dingen fantastisch bij elkaar. En ik ben heel erg blij voor het Rare team dat ze dat voor elkaar hebben weten te krijgen. Want er zat één iemand van Rare bij ons in het team. En die kon ons lichtelijk aansturen. En die gaf suggesties over wat we zouden kunnen doen. En die beantwoordde moeilijke vragen als... godverdomme, waarom staat mijn controls op invert? Wat moet ik nu doen? Ja. En dat wisten ze subtiel heel goed te sturen. En wij zijn er zootje sukkels die gewoon heel snel met elkaar lol hebben. Dus dat werkte gewoon heel goed. Maar als je deze game gewoon loslaat online en je laat mensen dit doen, dan zijn ze nog heel ver van een game die ook echt op die manier een leuke situatie gaat opleveren.
Maar dat vind ik dus fascinerend. Kijk, aan de ene kant, het samenwerken zit ingebakken in die game. Dus om je een voorbeeld te geven. Nee. Jawel, laat me even vertellen. Als je een voorbeeld, ik was aan het sturen, ik was de stuurman. Ja. En dan blijkt dat als je gaat gaan in zo'n boot, iemand dus in dat kraaiennest moet gaan klimmen, of gewoon op de boot voor de stuurboord.
Emiel dat heel goed deed.
Nou, dat is dus niet zo, dat denken jullie. Maar dat sturen ging echt letterlijk heel langzaam.
Okay.
Dus zo'n boot, dat stuurt niet zomaar.
Ik weet nog dat wij in een mees ook in dat spaceship zaten. Dat was precies hetzelfde precies
daaraan denken. Nou, maar het is exact hetzelfde. maar ik vond het leuk, omdat je daardoor... je wordt zo gedwongen om met elkaar te communiceren. Ja. Omdat anders werkt het echt niet. En het is niet dat het moet, want niks moet. Je kunt ook overboord springen en gaan zwemmen als je wil, bij wijze van spreken. Maar...
Maar daar was ik bang voor dat jij dat ging doen. Want dat kan dus inderdaad. Je kan gewoon van de plank aflopen en zeg maar ergens 10 kilometer achter het schip aan proberen te zwemmen. En dan is het maar net aan de piraten van het schip om te bepalen van gaan we ophalen of fuck die guy, weet je.
Ja, waar ik echt letterlijk helemaal kapot om ging. Dat op een gegeven moment waren we erin geslaagd om in de buurt van een andere boot te komen. Ja. En was het allemaal naar de kanonnen aan de linkerkant en schieten. En Shelly die had ergens een fles rum gevonden en bleef gedronken. En die kon dus vervolgens niet meer schieten.
Nee, ja, ik kon wel schieten, maar ik kwam niet bij de kanonnen. Dus ik deed echt mijn best om een soort van, moest je op X drukken. Maar elke keer, omdat het schip natuurlijk ging ook heen en weer. Dus ik pleurde weer naar achter. Ja, dat was heel praktisch. Maar dat ging gelukkig wel snel over. En we werden natuurlijk ook, want je schip, dat gaat ook zinken op een gegeven moment. Dus dan moet je naar beneden om met planken die lek te dichten. Dus dat heb ik gedragen in, dat had ik gedaan.
Ja, essentieel, anders waren we gezonken, wat niet gebeurd is. Uiteindelijk hebben we zelfs een ander schip geënterd. En dat was letterlijk zo simpel dat je gewoon echt er tegenaan ramt gewoon met je schip en dan gewoon erop springt. En ik vind het jammer dat we niet hebben gezien wat er dan gebeurt.
Nee, maar ik heb wel even gezien wat er dan gebeurt, want Jelle en ik die renden dat schip op, maar we hebben geen wapens. Dus je kan niet een andere enemy soort van neer gaan slaan. Dus wat je doet is fucking accordeon spelen met iemand anders op een schip. Ja, je kan niks. Je staat er maar.
Wat dat betreft, wat dat betreft was de game ook nog niet helemaal klaar. Nee, dat zei die guy ook tegen mij. Want je kan uiteindelijk ook je schip zeg maar nog het water weer legen met een emmertje. Okay. Dus er zijn nog wel wat items. En dat is ook wat ik zeg, weet je. De game moet je meer gaan helpen. De rol die rare guy had, die ons tips gaf van nou, nu moet je dit doen of zouden we niet dat doen. Of bijvoorbeeld hoist the sails, daar waren we echt heel lang mee bezig. Van hoe gaan we in godsnaam vooruit? Nou, je moet de zeilen hoisten. En dat was heel grappig. Wij maakten er ook een soort van grappig toneelstukje van. Maar dat hij die tip gaf, weet je wel, dat moet de game gaan doen. En al dat soort dingen moet de game gaan faciliteren. En dan zul je ook meer mechanics krijgen. En dan zou je misschien ook anderen neer kunnen sabelen. Of misschien hun kunnen saboteren of wat dan ook.
Ja. Nou, ik vond het echt heel veelbelovend.
De zee was mooi.
Nou, weet je wat ik grappig...
Ik wel af wat je nog meer kan doen. Want weet je gaat die zee op en je gaat gewoon schieten naar andere schepen. Maar dat wil je niet constant doen.
Tenzij je er goed in wordt en je een soort beloning krijgt. Een soort van dat je levelt of dat je... weet je, ik heb namelijk heel erg gelachen. En het lijkt me episch om dit te doen voor een bar weinig livestream. Weet je, met z'n allen een of andere har piratensetting. Maar... inderdaad, weet je, ga je dit maandenlang thuis spelen? Dat is dan echt dat hangt af van de beloning, of je kan levelen.
Ja, daar weten we nog niks van. Dus dat wordt even af. Was er al een release date?
Nee, niet anytime soon in ieder geval. Zeker niet meer dit jaar, denk ik.
Maar het zou ook een beetje MOBA-achtig kunnen worden. Want dat gevoel had ik ook wel een beetje. Ik had namelijk op een gegeven moment waren jullie met z'n allen aan het schieten. En ik merkte dat we wat water hadden. En toen ben ik ook even uit mijn kraaiennest gesprongen. En heb ik even snel wat gaten gedicht. En toen ben ik weer teruggegaan. En niemand had dat door. Maar ik dacht gewoon, het was wel goed. Want ik heb 3 gaten gedicht. En ik denk op een gegeven moment op die manier ga je automatisch aanvoelen. Ik dacht al, jullie vinden het leuker om te schieten. Niemand van jullie vindt het leuk om... Nou, Shelly blijkbaar wel.
Ik heb al die gaten gedicht.
Maar niemand van jullie vindt het leuk om gaten te dichten.
Dat dacht ik al. Ik moest sturen.
Nee, maar dus dacht ik van nou fuck it, ik doe het wel. En ik denk op die manier dat er ook een soort van... Als je vaak met hetzelfde team in een boot zit... gaat er een natuurlijke gevoel zijn voor wat je moet gaan doen en wat wie wanneer doet.
altijd de gaten dichter zijn.
Nee, precies daarom. Maar weet je, in een MOBA heb je dat ook. Je hebt verschillende karakters en die doen verschillende dingen. En op een gegeven moment heb je daar een balans in. En dat voelde ik wel een beetje erin.
Ik vond het leuk. Er waren ontwikkelaars, ja.
Jelle die noemt hier iets heel goeds. En daar was ik heel erg blij mee. Gisteren bij de Xbox Party waren er dus inderdaad heel veel ontwikkelaars. Want ik was gewoon weer aan het mijmeren over hoe prachtig de zee was in Sea of Thieves. En ik was dit shirt aan het stelen, Game King-stijl. Ja. En toen voelde ik me eigenlijk een beetje betrapt. Want ineens stond er een guy van Rare voor me die zei... Oké, welke maten heb je nodig?
En toen ging je vragen of die werk had voor je vriendin, toch?
Ja, ook. Ik heb gezegd, mijn vriendin is concept artist. Hebben jullie nog mensen nodig? Maar daarnaast zei ik ook van... Goh, jullie zee ziet er zo mooi uit. Ik vind jullie zee echt belachelijk mooi. Het is Sea of Thieves, maar het is echt een mooie Sea of Thieves. Ja. En toen zei hij, nou dankjewel, ik ben de art director. Dus dat vind ik heel erg leuk om te horen. Ja. En dat idee alleen al, weet je. Dat die man, ik merkte dat. En ik weet dat zelf als game developer ook, weet je. Als mensen heel erg van shoot genieten en zeggen... Wow, wat cool, wie heeft dit gemaakt? Dan voel je een soort trots, weet je. En dat merk je weinig, want je werkt normaal achter je computer en je ziet niet de reactie van mensen op je game. Ja. En dat vond ik vet gisteren aan de party, want ik heb ook met de maker van de oorspronkelijke Castlevania games zitten praten. Ja, die was echt stomdronken, stond hij daar met bier over zijn hele face. Zijn game Bloodchained. Ikaragi. Bloodchained stond hij aan te prijzen. Dat is zijn Kickstarter die veel te veel geld heeft binnengehaald. Ik vond
Bloodstained niet goed.
Ik vond Bloodstained niet goed, maar ik vond het wel tof om even die guy te spreken en zijn idee over zijn eigen game mee te krijgen. En ik vond de game zelf niet goed. Waarom niet? Ik ben namelijk echt zo iemand die vindt dat als je een game oppakt, dan moet die game jou gewoon automatisch al feedback geven over wat je wel en niet kan doen.
En niet in Times Roman.
Nee, niet in Times Roman en met een dialogue box die mij forceert om alles te lezen en dan op een knop te drukken en dan pas kom ik weer verder. En op het moment dat ik verder ga, krijg ik weer een nieuwe dialogue box. Nou, daar word ik helemaal gek van. En dat had die game. Het was heel ouderwets Japans design wat dat betreft. Dus ik vond het zelf niet heel vet. Maar misschien dat andere mensen die echt heel veel love hebben voor de Castlevania franchise het evengoed wel heel vet vinden.
Ja. Hey, er is hier een vraag van Laurens GMMG. Die vraagt: Game Kings, hebben jullie ook je hand laten lezen op de Mafia 3 stand? Of tarotkaarten afgezien van Emiel en Jelle? Nee, dat hebben we niet gedaan. Alleen Emiel en Jelle.
Alleen Emiel en Jelle? Of
wat zei de waarzegger over jou?
Nou, dat was toch accuraat. Ja, je moet het item maar checken, want het zit helemaal in het item. Maar die waarzegger was spot on over mij en mijn profiel en mijn leven. En ja, goed, ik zou natuurlijk wel gewoon... Ik moet nog steeds een rijbewijs halen, jongen. Kunnen we niet een soort van Game Kings Premium Emiel doen? Dat ik allemaal items voor jullie ga maken. Ja. En dat ik daarmee mijn rijbewijs kan sparen. Want ik wil dus mijn rijbewijs halen.
Voor je rijbewijs.
Precies. Ja. Die vrouw die zei, je hebt insufficient funds om echt te doen wat je nu wil doen. En ik zou op zich ook wel grote gameprojecten willen doen. Dat heeft iedereen op elk moment in zijn leven.
Dat weet ik ook wel, Boris van de fan.
Jezus, dat weet ik ook wel, maar toch, die zit als accuraat. Want ze zeiden ook over Jelle, oké, ga ik het toch een beetje spoilen. Ja. Van je bent niet per se heel ambitieus, maar je krijgt toch altijd een leidende rol. Waardoor je soms niet per se aan het doen bent wat jij zelf echt wil doen. Maar je bent gewoon de shit aan het aansturen. Nou, en dat zie ik wel bij Jelle. Jelle is altijd alles aan het regelen. Jelle is echt een spin in het web gewoon. Altijd, overal. En die is alles aan het managen met iets in zijn neus. Ja. Dat vond ik grappig dat zij dat noemde.
Ongelooflijk.
Dus, nou.
Shelly, ga jij je waar laten zeggen?
Als we er tijd voor hebben, kunnen we dat altijd nog even doen, ja.
Er is iets aan de hand met één mic. Dat betekent dat ik nu de enige mic-bezitter ben. En voor de rest zal wel Shelly als Emiel niets meer kunnen zeggen. Dat betekent dat ik nog eventjes kan... jammer helaas. Ik kan nog even een beetje op hetzelfde. Nee, ik wou eigenlijk vertellen dat ik een andere game gespeeld heb. Nog voordat we even over Battlefield gaan praten zometeen. Ik heb Deus Ex gisteren gespeeld.
Wat? Ja. Mankind Divided.
Ja, Mankind Divided heb ik gespeeld op de Microsoft stand. En dat was vet.
Ja?
Ja, het was leuk. Ja. Ik vond het heel erg leuk. Het was wel weer, dat zie je wel op de E3, jongen, dan is het één leveltje, een demootje, weet je. Het is zo afgebakend en dan precies zodat je 10 minuten hebt om te spelen.
Mag ik iets aan de chat vragen? En echt, ik ben sorry man. Nee, ga eerst verder. Ik vraag het zo. Ik was in het spijt me.
Ik ben blij dat je energie hebt.
Kapot hyped gewoon. Want
over?
Iedereen speelt nu de Resident Evil 7 demo. En wij kunnen dat niet. Ik heb mijn fucking PlayStation niet meegenomen. Maar alsjeblieft, vertel het me. Want ik ben hyped als fuck. Ik ben, dat weten jullie al. Ik ben een PT-lover. Ja. Ik vind het zo vet dat ze de franchise helemaal terug naar hun roots flikkeren.
En op het moment dat jij weer landt in Nederland is die demo afgelopen.
Ja, ik weet het.
Ik ga vandaag nog wel even kijken of ik met de PR Capcom man kan regelen. Maar ik moet eerst een nummer ergens vandaan.
Hij staat ook bij Sony trouwens.
Hij staat bij Sony.
Nee, hij staat op de Capcom booth ook.
Gisteren was hij.
Oh fuck, het is al 10 uur. Shit. Oh, ik moet me inschrijven voor
Het
de
is al
Batman
11:30.
VR-demo. Ik ben veel te laat.
Ja,
Zou nog
niet
kunnen.
met de Batman.
meer Batman VR-demo voor Emiel.
Nee.
Mensen begrijpen niet vaak hoe weinig tijd we hier hebben.
Ja,
Dat
het is
echt
bizar. We
ja.
rennen van hot naar her.
Ja.
En ineens is het 's avonds 1 uur. En
Ja.
ineens is het 6 uur 's ochtends en moet je je bed uit voor de stream.
Ja, inderdaad. Gaan we het dan eindelijk even hebben over Battlefield 1 zonder dat jij er doorheen
Ja,
zegt?
ik ga even mijn mond houden, ja?
Nou,
Wat zal ik ondertussen doen?
Nee, ik wil graag dat je iets...
Je kan ook
dat je
croissant
een
op mezelf smeren
Je
of
kan ook
zo.
croissant op jezelf smeren of je overgieten met smilk. Ik wil graag eventjes jouw mening over het volgende. Shelly en ik hadden een discussie die je waarschijnlijk ook in het item kunt zien of in de review die we hebben gedaan, preview, excuse me, van Battlefield 1.
Dat is vast iets negatiefs.
Nou, waar het over gaat, het was een discussie. Het was niet negatief, het was een discussie. Ik vind Battlefield 1 heel erg tof. En Shelly zat er niet echt in, omdat het...
Ik haat het.
Zie je? Negatief. Ik zei het al.
Nee, ik haat het niet, maar het is niet mijn ding.
Ja, en dat vond ik heel interessant, want ik probeerde eigenlijk een beetje uit je te trekken hoe dat kwam. Weet je? Omdat ik best wel pogingen heb gedaan om je Battlefield 4 te laten spelen en dat leuk te laten vinden. Maar jij zegt overduidelijk, nee, ik vind het niet tof. Als je gewoon kijkt, Emiel.
Sorry.
Ja?
Ik moest snel de boer laten.
Ja,
Ik denk,
oké.
ik doe dat niet in gezicht.
Als je gewoon kijkt naar wat die games doen. Hè? Wat ik bedoel, bijvoorbeeld Call of Duty of Battlefield, weet ik veel wat. Ik bedoel, het is oppervlakkig gezegd lijkt het erg op elkaar. Maar ik heb niet zoveel met Call of Duty. Shelly heeft niet zoveel met Battlefield 1. Als je nou gaat kijken waar die verschillen in zitten, kun je zeggen van oké, het is tempo, het is hoe de wapens voelen. Battlefield is misschien wat moeilijker. Of misschien juist niet, ik weet het niet.
Spacing in dit geval.
Maar ik denk eigenlijk dat het wat anders is. En dat is namelijk gewoon hoe die game eruit ziet. Hoe de looks van die game zijn. En ik realiseerde me na dat gesprek wat ik met Shelly had, dat ik met best wel veel games al vrij snel zoiets heb van dit is wel of niet voor mij. Gewoon puur gebaseerd op hoe het eruit is.
Ja.
Hoe het eruit ziet.
Maar daar ben ik het dus niet mee eens. Want dat is niet waardoor ik Battlefield 1 niet leuk vind om te spelen.
Nou,
Ik zeg toch dat
mag
dat de reden is om-
Zal ik daar even een deskundige blik op
Ik
werpen?
probeer eventjes deze stelling op tafel te
Het
gooien.
zijn de game aesthetics. En de game aesthetics, je hebt de mechanics, dynamics en aesthetics in games. En de aesthetics, is niet alleen hoe het eruit ziet, maar het is ook hoe het aanvoelt door hoe het werkt.
Oké.
Dus Battlefield
Maar wel
heeft...
ook hoe het eruit ziet.
Ja.
Ja.
Battlefield heeft een andere aesthetic dan Call of Duty. Call of Duty is wat sneller, is wat directer. Ook hoe het aanvoelt.
Ja.
Het ziet er wat moderner ook uit in dit geval. Het is misschien iets meer arcadey.
Ja.
Dat zijn de game aesthetics. Als speler kom je als eerste game aesthetics tegen.
Ja.
Dus stel je voor je hebt die aesthetics, dynamics en mechanics. Als speler kom je van boven.
Ja.
En dan zie je eerst de aesthetics. Dan ga je ermee spelen. Dan ervaar je de dynamics. De dynamics zijn hoeveel ammo heb je. Hoe lang duurt het voordat je ergens bent. Nou ja, alle variabelen. En vervolgens heb je de mechanics. Dat is daadwerkelijk het schieten ervan. Of, nou ja. Als designer denk je altijd na eerst over hoe werken de belangrijkste mechanics. Hoe haakt dat in op dynamics. Dus hoeveel ammo heb je. En dan vervolgens ga je nadenken. Oké, hoe gaan de visuals eruit zien. En daarom zie je ook vaak dat de visuele polish op het allerlaatst komt.
Oké.
En als speler reageer je heel erg op de aesthetics. En dat is puur een persoonlijk ding. En dat heeft dus wel ook met pacing te maken en met realisme. Bijvoorbeeld sommige mensen hebben dat met driving games ook. Je houdt niet van soort van... Ik heb gisteren samen met Jelle World Rally Championship nummer 6 gespeeld.
Ja.
Ik hou daar normaal niet van. Want ik loop alleen maar te schaatsen over het veld. En andere mensen houden daar heel erg veel van. Want die vinden het leuk dat het heel realistisch is. En die hebben veel meer geduld met het spelen van zo'n game.
Ja.
Dus het ligt heel erg aan je persoonlijke profiel of die aesthetics wel of niet matchen. Maar heel vaak als je daar voorbij kan kijken. Dus als ik mezelf commit om gewoon toch een week World Rally Championship te doen. Dan kom ik achter dat ik de dynamics en mechanics misschien wel leuk vind.
Ja.
En dan ga ik er toch verder mee.
Ja.
En dat zie je ook bijvoorbeeld met games als Hearthstone. Wat heel erg een bepaalde aesthetic heeft. Namelijk een soort van fantasy card game.
Ja.
En er zijn heel veel mensen die zeggen. Ja, maar het is niet voor mij want ik hou niet van trollen. Ja, en dan een jaar lang speelt hun omgeving het. En denk ik van nou ik probeer het toch maar een keer. En dan merken ze dat ze de dynamics en aesthetics wel een interessante ervaring vinden opleven.
Ja.
En dan gaan ze het wel spelen.
Ja, oké.
Maar dan moet je altijd
En-
even wat geduld en incasseringsvermogen voor hebben.
Maar geef me eens een voorbeeld van bijvoorbeeld de games die ik niet tof vind aan de hand van hoe ze eruit zien. Laten we bijvoorbeeld Dead Rising nemen. Weet je, ik zie het en ik heb zoiets van grafisch valt het tegen.
Maar het is wat anders dan graphics. Hè?
Nee, snap ik. Maar al vrij snel merk ik dat wat ik in die game aan het doen ben, dat het oppervlakkig is en dat het